All right, so again, just to go over the format for this press conference, we'll begin with an opening remarks from Coach Auriemma and then 15 minutes of questions to the student athletes. So, Coach.
Thank you. Obviously, we're one game away from the Final Four, and I think anytime you get to this point in the season, it's exactly where every player wants to be. From the time school starts in September to today, everything you work for is to put yourself in this situation and to be able to play for a national championship. And in order to do that, you got to win this game tomorrow night. And it's one of those things that no matter how many years you're in this situation, it's maybe even more exciting or more you're more anxious for this game than you are for any of the games in the Final Four, because this is the game that puts you in that situation. So I wish the game was today.
Thank you, Coach. When you ask your questions, please direct them to a specific student athlete, and also wait for our microphone holders to pass you the mic.
Good morning. Kareth Burke with SNY for Brianna Stewart, please. With UConn on the doorstep of history, all season you guys have been chasing a fourth straight national championship. There are people who make the argument that UConn's success or dominance is bad for the game, or at the very least, boring to watch. When a team is playing at its highest caliber like you guys are, and you hear that it's bad for the game, how do you respond?
Well, it's funny. I just saw something about that. And I think it's interesting when people say that. If you look at our game yesterday, yeah, there was a huge difference in the score, but the way that we were playing, we were executing everything we needed to execute. And I know, speaking for the players, we had a great time. And, I think, it's a mixture of both, because people say that, women's basketball is boring to watch, but when we're playing at such a high level and because we're beating everyone else, then they don't want to watch it either. So I don't know what they want us to do about it. Yeah, you definitely can win in this argument. I think that for women's basketball, we're trying to continue to grow the game, and you can tell that we are with how the tournament has played out so far with the upsets and that kind of stuff, but it needs to continue. Teams need to get better, players need to get better, and that starts from, before we even get to college.
John Altavilla from the Hartford Courant. Morgan, how close to the perfect game was yesterday's game in your eyes and in your eyes of your teammates? I don't know if you even think it's possible to play a perfect game, but from our perception, it certainly seemed like it was. What's your opinion about that?
Yeah, I don't know if we can ever have a perfect game, because there's always, things that we could do better. But, I think especially the first quarter yesterday, that was really good. I think we all know that we played really well, and if we can try to, do that and do even better, it's going to be really hard for the teams we play against.
Did anything go wrong?
I can't pick necessarily one thing that went wrong, but I think, overall, I think it was a more positive game. I don't think that any of us took anything negative away from it.
Holly.
I would like each of you to give a quick example, if you could. I'm Holly Rowe from ESPN, of what Coach Auriemma has done to keep you from feeling that you're good enough, to keep pushing you and making you continue to improve.
I'll take that one. No, every day in practice it's going to be tough. Coach is going to challenge us, in different ways that we need to be challenged, and making sure that we're in tough situations so that any given time in the game we'll be ready and prepared for that game. So it's always something different. Maybe it's mental, maybe it's physical, but he's always throwing, another challenge at us each and every day so that we're staying ready.
Oh, each of us. Go ahead,
each of us.
Yes. Go.
Yeah, similar to along those lines. Obviously, he could get on you about something over and over again, and it's the same mistake that you make. And as soon as you start to do it better and continue not to make that mistake, you find something new. And that's something that kind of just makes you continue to want to be great at everything.
Yeah, I think like Mo was saying, he gives you different challenges that you have to overcome, and it's something new each time so that you're focusing on different parts of your game that you have to improve.
I'll give more specific examples. He does a lot of different things from benching you to giving you the silent treatment to, what they were talking about, pushing you in practice and that kind of stuff. But, he has a lot of different ways to push each other's buttons or push our buttons. And, we're all different people, but he still knows how to light a fire under someone.
And I think a big thing that I notice is, he doesn't care about the score. A lot of people say, like, oh, you guys are up by so many points, but you still play hard. And that's because, it doesn't matter how much we're up by. If he doesn't like the way we're playing, if we're not playing the way we should in the locker room, it doesn't feel like we're up by that much.
In front.
Ian Bethune, SB Nation. Kia, what has Mariah meant to you as a point guard and leader, and how much have you learned from her, and what will you take forward with that from that?
Obviously, Mariah has meant a whole lot to me over the last 2 years. She's done a whole lot for me. Obviously, to have someone like that beside you every single day in practice and in every single game, you learn tons of different stuff, from her leadership to her endless work ethic, how she never tires. So to see that and have an example of it every day, I'm really fortunate.
Okay.
Oh, you're welcome.
That is so cute.
So sweet.
Why you gotta
Hater.
Marvin Chambers, Houston's son, and woman hoop world, Brianna. You're not a true five, but you have skill sets of every position on the court. I want you to put your coaching hat on for a minute. If you was a coach and you had to play against a player as such as yourself, what were some of the things you would incorporate in your game plan to negate your abilities?
Answer the question.
The things that I've noticed other teams try to do to me defensively is, well, obviously, first and foremost, get me in foul trouble. If you can get me out of the game, then that's easy. But also, just being physical, making sure that, I'm not comfortable if I'm posting up and that kind of stuff. But I think I'm handling that a lot better. But I would definitely say foul trouble and the physicality.
In front.
No, do not.
Can I get a microphone, please? Down here. Thank you.
Guys, after the game yesterday, the Vic Schaefer, the coach of Mississippi State, said that he thought you guys were good enough to play in an NBA team. So,
NBA or WNBA?
WNBA team. Yeah.
I was like, put me in the post.
So, I'm thinking there's 3 WNBA players on the dais now and 2 more coming in future years, and I'm wondering, what do you guys think about that? You think if on your best days you could give the Dallas team a run or one of the other teams in the league, or do you think that's just folly?
I think it's an interesting comment, and for him to say it, obviously it's a huge honor to us. But there's a difference between college level and pro, and there's an adjustment that the 3 of us or the 2 of us are going to have to make this coming year. And what I've noticed from USA Basketball and that kind of stuff, and is the physical part of it and the getting stronger, the playing stronger. And I'm not sure. I'm not going to say that we would be able to beat a WNBA team, but it's an interesting comment to make.
Down here in the front.
Mariah, tomorrow's game, they're probably going to extend their zone defense on you. what are some of the things you know to be successful against Texas, come out with a win?
First off, on defense, we really have to be aggressive with them. You know, they have huge posts in Amani, and we have to really make sure she is limited on her touches. And then on the offensive end, really try to get the ball to the middle of the zone. Like you said, they will extend and will pressure out. So, you know, just get the ball inside, try to work inside, outside, and then go from there.
Any more questions for the student athletes? All right. Thank you very much for your time. The locker room for UConn will remain open for another 15 more minutes. And now you can direct your questions towards Coach Ariema.
No, I love you, Kia. No, I love you, Will.
Really?
No, I love you, Kia.
How would you try to take a mint out your mouth and give it to me?
Morning.
A national sports writer who noted the score in UConn's win and then said, "Hate to punish them for being great, but they are killing the women's game. Watch, no thanks." How often do you run into that idea that UConn's success,
said that?
Shaughnessy,
Yeah.
that UConn's success
He has a lot of comments
could be killing the
from
game?
up in Boston. My question is, don't watch. Don't watch. Nobody's putting a gun to your head to watch. So don't watch. And don't write about it. Spend your time on things that you think are important. If you don't think this is important, don't pay any attention to it. The fact that you have to comment on it says something about you, doesn't it? We are what we are. We are what we are. You know? We do what we do. You know, we do what we do. When Tiger was winning every major, nobody said he was bad for golf. Actually, he did a lot for golf. He made everybody have to be a better golfer. And they did. And now there's a lot more great golfers because of Tiger. So, there's a lot better writers than Dan Shaughnessy. But that doesn't mean he's bad for the game.
Hey, Gino. Doug Feinberg, the AP. One of your proteges, Carla Bruby, took Tufts to the championship game. They're playing for the first time Monday night or Monday afternoon when you guys were there. Just talk about what she's done for that program, and are you going to get a chance to watch them potentially and such?
Yeah, I think this is the first time that we're having all three championships, Division I, Division II, and Division III. I don't think there's any other ones, but those three are going to be played the same weekend in Indianapolis. And I think it's great for basketball in general because there's going to be a lot of interest, obviously, that wouldn't ordinarily be there. The most surprising thing for me is that Carla became a coach because in her 4-year career at Connecticut, I don't ever remember seeing anything that would lead me to believe that she wanted to coach. And maybe after 4 years with me, she figures I could do that. The fact that she's a really, really good coach and coaching a really good team, and year after year she's been really good, that doesn't surprise me because she has a quiet strength about her, and that's what made her a great player. And I hope, well, I don't say I hope, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to do everything I can to be at that game.
Kevin.
Hi, Coach. Kevin Baxter, LA Times. Happy Easter.
Happy Easter.
Everyone talks about you're going for the 11th title. That's a wooden thing. One of the coaches that you played earlier said you were the greatest coach of all time. So you're compared to Wooden. Some people calling you the greatest of all time. What do you think about you and your program, what you've accomplished? Where would you put you guys on the pantheon of great teams?
You know, we all know people like this, right? The people that tell you, I work hard for a living. Well, people that work really hard for a living don't tell other people that they work really hard for a living. So I think that the hardest thing for someone to answer is what, what we're talking about right now is, what do I think? And what I think is really not maybe as important as what do the players think that I've coached over the years? What do they think that we've done? How do they feel about what we've done? So if I put it in that perspective, I think over the last 20 years we've taken a lot of really good high school players and given them opportunity to be great, and we've been given a job to do, my coaching staff, myself, they said, here's an opportunity, and what are you going to do with it? And I think what we've done is we've done our jobs, and we've taken this opportunity, and we've done it as well or better than anybody's ever done it in any sport. And I think when you try to defend yourself against what Kareth was talking about, the game, you come off sounding, like petty and bitter and all that other stuff. So I certainly don't want to do that. But if the average person out there would just take a second and think to themselves, ever in my life I've ever been that good at anything that I've ever tried to do for that long, then you know what? They would understand that what we've done, regardless of who we've done it against, what sport we've done it in, what era we've done it in, we've done something that's really, really, really hard to do. And the people that care about us and the people that I care about really appreciate it. Where that stands, where that stacks up, Coach Wooden did something that no one will ever do again. Like, you could say a lot of things, nobody's ever going to hit 56 straight games again, whatever. No men's basketball coach is going to win 11 national championships or 10 national championships or 7 in a row. You can pretty much make that comment and be true. So it happened in an era where it was possible. So we're doing something in an era where it's possible. Will it ever happen again? I don't know. But maybe down the road, some other coach will be sitting up here talking about how in their era they're the best at what they do. Tomorrow night it could all come crashing down, and then the Boston Globe will write a big front page story about how UConn got their ass kicked. And then everybody will be happy.
Coach, Marvin Chambers, Houston Sun, and Women's World, Hoop World. At this stage of the NCAA tournament, do you think you're coaching more or more of a game management?
When excuse me, when you get to the NCAA tournament, especially when you get to this point, we always talk about it's not possible to become a better shooter in March than you were in January and February. You're not going to get bigger. You're not going to get stronger. You're not going to get any quicker. You don't all of a sudden become a better passer. Teams that turn the ball over a lot, all of a sudden in March, aren't going to stop turning the ball over. So the only place where you really can have an effect at this time of the year is you can be a little bit smarter than you were last month. So we spend most of our time at this time of the year just trying to be a little bit smarter than we were last month, last week, last game. And we feel like if we can do that, we can take advantage of what our strengths are, and we can hide whatever our weaknesses are. And if we go into every game and we come out of that game feeling like, you know what, we made better decisions than the other team, then the rest is do you have the talent to be able to do what you're setting out to do? I mean, if I was Vic Schaefer and I was sitting up here, I would be lamenting the fact that my team had to play against Brianna Stewart, Mariah Jefferson, and Morgan Tuck. There's not much difference between me and Vic. There's a lot of difference between his players and my players. So at this time of the year, if you've got the right players, you just have to get them in the right mindset.
Gino, in terms of how you would define it or how you would see it, how close did your team come yesterday to playing what someone might call the perfect game? Did they approach it in various fundamental ways?
I mean, you know, it's just one game. It was just 40 minutes of basketball. Sometimes making a lot of shots can come across as, you know, playing great. So the fact that we made so many shots early on, I think what we did yesterday, for the most part, and it goes to what I said, was we really made great decisions. We made the right pass at the right time. We made the right defensive move at the right time. We made the right cut at the right time. And I guess that's called being in sync. You know, we were totally in sync with each other. And again, tomorrow's a different day. But for those first 20 minutes, at least, for those 20 minutes, 5 players were completely in sync with each other. It doesn't happen very often. And when it does happen, obviously, as you saw yesterday, it's pretty special and it's enjoyable to watch.
Ollie?
Last weekend, Brianna had a defensive possession where she blocked 3 shots, and I wanted to know what was going through your mind during that defensive possession for Brianna.
First of all, I was like everybody else watching it. I was like, wow, you know. But at the same time, there was a part of me that remembered her freshman year where she would be afraid to make any plays sometimes, or she would make a play and then stop. And then to see her be relentless and make this play, that play, that play, it just, you know, I just shook my head and smiled, and I thought, wow, you know, she's come a long way. And I was really proud of her because it was a meaningless game to an average kid. You know, like you've won 3 national championships. You've won, you know, MVP at a Final Four 3 years in a row. So does it really matter if you make those plays in that game? Is that going to affect the outcome of the game? No, it's not. But the fact that she wanted to play the game like it was the most important game of the year, that said a lot to me about who she's become.
Why do you think it is that you personally, as a person and as a coach, never feel like it's good enough and push your players to be better?
That's a tough question. And I wish I knew the answer to that. You know, it's Easter Sunday, and it's a time when you should be happy and thankful, and for whatever reason, don't know why. I wish I did. I've always been searching for the next thing, searching for what's next, what's out there that's a little better than that, what's out there that's a whole nother level than where we're at right now. And that's good and bad, Holly, to be honest with you, because there's a point in time where you need to be satisfied with how good you really are instead of always trying to be better. You know, you know what I think my biggest strength is as a coach? That I'm way more demanding of my players than I am of myself. And that's not really something to be proud of, but I always feel like I can help somebody get to another level, no matter how good our team is. I think there's something more that we could do. So I don't know why. I just I'm never satisfied.
Last two questions, Doug and then Kevin.
Gino, I think you said last weekend how it's tough for our team to play Stewie for the first time and figure out how to guard her or see. It takes a while for them to get used to just how good she is. Over the last decade for you guys, when you play teams for the first time or haven't played a team the year before, no one beats you. And since your title run starting in '99, I think only a few teams have beaten you. What is it about you guys that if teams haven't seen you before makes it so tough for them to get a victory?
You know, I'm a huge sports fan, you know, and baseball is my favorite sport of all time. One of the biggest changes in the game of baseball in the last, I don't know, 10, 15 years, maybe 20 years, has been the advent of middle relievers and setup men and closers. When I was a kid, if you came out from behind the plate to take Bob Gibson out of the game, he might knock your head off, right? You didn't come out of games. And why do you do that? Because when you see people for the first time, it takes a while to get adjusted. So in a game of basketball, we come at you, and if you're not familiar with what we do, how we do it, the pace that we play at, it's hard to make that adjustment. By the time you figure it out, it might be too late. I don't know that it's anything special or anything like that. I just think there's a pace that we want to play at, and that's what we practice every day for 5 months. We practice at a certain pace. So we want to create that pace. And then if a team can manage that and handle that, then we're in for a dogfight. And if they can't, after playing us a couple times, they figure out what the pace is. But for the first time, it's like facing a pitcher for the first time that you've never seen. You just don't have a read on it. It takes a while.
Kevin, last question.
I'm afraid this one might touch a nerve a little bit, so I'll start out by saying Gino's Grill and the Gino Wine, both very good.
Not bad, huh?
Very good.
Thank you.
You just said a second ago that I don't think I wrote it down exactly the way you said it, but at some point you need to be satisfied with where you are and not keep trying to get better. Are you close to that yet? And then the second part is, everyone keeps talking about, oh, yeah, Gino's great, but it's the women's game. Do you have a desire to go to the men's game? No one says, oh, you're a great stockbroker, but you should be a lawyer.
Right. I know. Isn't that funny? Because only men are true athletes. So if you coach men, then you coach real athletes. Well, I mean, of course I don't believe that. So whoever those men are that coach those professional women's tennis players, if they were any good, they'd be coaching men's tennis players, right? So it's the world that we live in. It's the world that we live in. You know, when I coached high school, when I coached high school girls, I was 21 years old. The guy asked me to do him a favor, so I did. I didn't go, you know what? Someday I want to be talking to a guy from the LA Times about John Wooden. I did it because I liked the game, and I thought, this could be fun. So I did it, and it was fun, and we won some games. And then when Phil Martelli, coach of St. Joe's, asked me to be his assistant, I said, that could be fun. So I did it, and I thought, this could be fun for the rest of my life. I could teach school and coach high school boys. This could be a lot of fun for the rest of my life. And then he said, why don't you go to University of Virginia and be an assistant women's coach? I said, that could be fun. I'd never been to Charlottesville. I'd never been at a school like UVA. Let me try it. And then when I got the job at Connecticut, I thought, yeah, this could be really cool. So now, 30, 40 years later, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, wow, I didn't realize so many people thought that was a dumbass idea. That I got it all wrong. That I should be doing something completely different because I'm a guy. It just, I'm always baffled by, especially in basketball, why everything has to be compared to the men. Why? I have never heard Serena Williams have to answer a question. Well, if you're any good, stop beating all those women. Why don't you play Roger Federer? That's not the point, is it? You just compete against the people you compete against, and that should be good enough. And that's one of the problems that I have with our Olympic team. I coach the most dominant women's national team in the world. We've won 5 straight gold medals, I think, something like that. And yet, we're never good enough because we're at the same venue as the greatest team in the world with the greatest players in the world, so we're always being compared to that. Yet no one ever compares our women's World Cup soccer team to our men. But no matter what Diana Taurasi does, no matter what Simone Augustus does, no matter what any of those kids do, well, you're not LeBron. Yeah, you're pretty good, but you're not Kevin Durant. You kidding me? And all the guys and all the people that are saying that, neither are you. Matter of fact, you're not Diana Taurasi even. So we don't appreciate people for how good they are and what a good job they do. We always have to compare it to something. And it's only in women's basketball. It's the only sport where that happens. It's the only sport. Day in, day out, year in, year out, we're faced with those questions and those comparisons. No other sport is. No other athlete is ever subjected to the same thing as a women's basketball player. And Breanna Stewart, when she gets to the WNBA, or if she makes the Olympic team, yeah, she's good, but she couldn't beat Kevin Durant. Every day. Every day. Every day. And after a while, I'm proud of the way those kids handle themselves, you just get tired of answering those questions. You get tired of all the idiot guys that play JV basketball weighing in their 2 cents going, UConn couldn't beat a good high school boys basketball team. Right, the one you couldn't play on probably. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. And I really admire how hard they play and how competitive they are and how passionate they are. And I have even more respect for them as I get older because how little respect some people have for what they do.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach, for your time.
Thank you.
Our next press conference will be the University of Texas at 1:10 p.m.